Welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 14. I think we're still counting those. I mean, it's we're getting up to some big numbers here, double digits. But welcome back. We got a good show today. Not as packed as it usually is, so it'll be a little bit more casual. We got some Blues talk. They're in the playoffs. They're in the series with the Wild. They're currently losing the series 2-1. We got some Cardinals talk. They had some big series this week and a few big wins. And then we got our segments and we got NBA talk. So everything you need right here. And without any more, let's get into the podcast. All right, welcome back to the Show Me Show. I'm Luke Newhouse with my co-host
Cam Milheiser.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And we're back once again. What are we starting off with?
I think we'll start with a little Blues, but first off, happy Mother's Day.
Yep.
To all the moms out there.
Very thankful for you all. You all are the best.
Yep. And like Luke just said, episode 14, so almost coming up on, we're 3 full months into the podcast.
Yeah.
Coming up on 4, so I feel like we've gotten a lot better since the beginning, so that's good.
Remember last week when I was editing it, it was the first time it was like a clean edit, so.
Yeah,
very
pretty
exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. Bengals helmet in front of the table.
Yeah, even though we're pro Steelers podcast, but yeah, Bengals helmet. It's a piece of sports that I think, we're a sports podcast, so.
Yeah, little memorabilia.
And we like Joe Burrow, so.
Yeah, Joe Mama Burrow. Yeah, Blues Wild. So thus far, 2-1 series, like Luke mentioned here in our intro. Blues won game 1, kind of a shocker. They just kind of went into Minneapolis and kind of shocked the whole arena. They controlled the game.
Shootout. Yeah.
So
they just dominated that game completely.
They just had awesome goaltending in that game and good defense and solid offense, and that's all you need to win playoff games when you don't let them score very much.
True. But unfortunately for the Blues is that it was a complete reversal of roles in game 2. The Wild just came out and they did the exact same thing to the Blues of what the Blues did to them the other night. So
yeah, they completely just woke up, and then after game 2 they struck their way to St. Louis and absolutely throttled the Blues from the get-go too. Yeah. As soon as the puck dropped, within the first 3 minutes, they were already up 2-0, 2 goals in 3 minutes, and just horrible defense to start the game for the Blues. And,
part of that's due, they have a lot of guys out right now.
Yeah, Bortuzzo and Letty are both out, but some good news, they saw them on the ice the other day practicing, so maybe they'll be back for game 4. Not confirmed, though.
Bortuzzo would be huge because he provides no offensive threat whatsoever, but he is a great defenseman, and he's been a cornerstone in St. Louis for a while. So having him back, he's kind of a rough and tough guy. Having him back would be huge, a huge boost to the series. But with the recent kind of Wild scoring goals, like they put up 10 goals in the last 2 games, I think, at least. A lot of people are calling for Binnington in the net. I don't know. He hasn't been the same this year.
No, he hasn't been the same since that one run.
Well, he's been fine. He just hasn't been very good this year. I still think he's the future goalie for the Blues. It's just this year we have a guy who's better than him this year, and I think we stick with him. Unless if he comes out and he gives up 3 goals in the first period again, then maybe you're like, all right, maybe we need a change or something just to get the guys going.
Yeah, but it is really hard to just toss a different goalie out there when you're down 3-0. Yeah. There's a little less pressure because you're already losing by so much, but it's the playoffs. So
yeah, but something's got to change. They play today at 3:30, I think.
Yeah, 3:30 on TBS at home for game 4. They've got to try and even it up. And they got to try to at least, keep it close early so that they can keep their fans engaged in the game. I mean, it was pretty sad. Probably about 60-75% of the arena was gone before the majority of the third period was even over. So,
it was just a blowout.
yeah. So, not great. But, yeah, Leddy and Bortuzzo, if they can come back, that would be really helpful for the Blues.
Otherwise, like I said, they got to win this game or we could be on our way to a gentleman's sweep, maybe.
Which this is a different kind of gentleman's sweep too, because like we said, the Blues kind of shocked everybody by winning game 1
by so much.
Yeah,
in dominating fashion.
But then again, this very well could turn into a gentleman's sweep. And if they win tonight in St. Louis, I think it will be a gentleman's sweep. Like no questions asked.
Going back home to Minnesota, winning 3 games in a row, it would not be looking good for the Blues. So today I would say is a must win.
Yeah, for sure.
Boston scores there.
Yeah.
NHL hockey, baby. Some other news around the NHL playoffs.
The Avalanche are absolutely throttling Predators. They're already up 3-0 in that series. But
did not see that coming though.
Yeah,
that's just sad. For
Luke, I think you really kind of hit the nail on the head with that series last week when you said that they're just going to kill them, and they are. It's not even close.
Yep. I think the same thing for the Kings and Oilers series. The Kings came out on the road and beat the Oilers in game 1, and that was kind of shocked everyone in a similar fashion that the Blues did.
Now it's 2-1.
But the Oilers are coming back, and it'll be good to see that if they can win a playoff series with, McDavid and Drysdale, because they do have a lot of talent on their team, but they don't seem to ever do very good in the playoffs. Toronto up 2-1 on the Lightning. I know that was your pick for the Stanley Cup final.
Canada.
Yep. Well, you also have the Flames, and they're down to a 7 seed right now.
Well, here's the thing. So one thing I didn't really look into because I didn't understand the playoff bracket was that if Edmonton and Calgary both advance, they'll just play each other.
Yep.
So I didn't really take that into account when I just said Canada's bringing home a cup.
Well, that would mean that one of them is guaranteed to go to the conference finals
if they win.
Yeah, if they both face each other.
Yeah. So
that would help, but the hockey bracket is so weird. I wish they would just make it like the NBA, like where the top 8 teams in the conference play and all that. Because if that was the case, the Blues would be playing the Oilers, I think.
That would be a way fun, like a super fun series.
Yeah, it would. I think that would be a better matchup for us than the Wild too, because the Wild, they're so good.
Yeah, they're literally the 2 seed. So, although Blues played really good at the end of the season to make their way all the way up to the 3 seed, but that's not even like something that that you pat yourself on the back for because you literally have to play the 2 seed.
Yeah,
it's not something to get ultra excited about. I think what we did say was a week ago is that it would be nice if we could get one playoff series win because the Avalanche,
they're sitting on the other end.
Yeah, and it's not looking good.
Maybe some people held out hope. Maybe the Predators can rough them up
because they do
tired out, but
they do sometimes in these series.
Yeah, but that's not the case. Maybe they might be able to sneak a game in here, but they're gonna get swept. Colorado is winning
tomorrow. Even more interesting on the east side, honestly, has been that the Capitals are up on the Panthers.
That was my I called the Capitals upset over the Panthers.
The Panthers are far and away better. The Capitals are up 2-1. 2-1 is a very common thing between the NBA and NHL. You'll come to find today when we talk about the NBA as well. But yeah, that series is interesting. This one is very interesting that we have on the TV right now.
Boston.
Yeah. And that's a 2-1 series as well.
In favor of Carolina. But Boston is up 3-2, and they've got the momentum in this game.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Penguins are up also. So
they had that game 1 in that series.
Yeah.
3 overtimes. They were at the rink for damn near 5 hours.
Yeah, they played into
Actually,
the
I think it was
early
more than
hours
5
of the
hours.
morning.
Yeah.
I think they said it was 6.
I think it was just less than 6, if I recall, but
Okay, yeah.
that's a lot of time to be playing 100% hockey.
Yeah, that's a long time to be sitting in a hockey arena.
Yeah.
But
That's a fun series. New York came out and won the second game, and how long was the Rangers Penguins game 1? I'll find it. I'll see if it shows up.
so yeah, hockey playoffs. We're just beginning. Still just the first round. Long
But
ways to
still
go, but
exciting. Like,
no, yeah, definitely has been.
I don't really get into the NHL until the playoffs, but playoff hockey is so fun because, like, it all matters. So I can't find it anywhere. It was around 5 to 6 hours. It was in that range that they were at for
and
game 1. And
nobody could stop talking about it either.
And apparently there was a goal where the Rangers should have won, but they called, like, a goalie interference or something that was really questionable, and that was in the first overtime. So, Rangers come out with a vengeance game 2, but Penguins win the game 3. And that's about wraps it. Yeah, Calgary down 2-1 to Dallas. That scares me because I hate Dallas.
Yeah, they're a hard team to play in the playoffs.
They also might be the most boring team in the entire playoffs right now. So, they play a boring style of hockey. They have a boring logo and kind of a boring city.
You know
Yes.
what? At the same time, though, the teams that have both hockey and NBA in the playoffs right now their fans are cheering hard. Like the Mavericks fans the other night were going crazy
Yeah.
against the Sun when they were playing the Suns.
Well, who all has 2 teams? You got Boston.
Yep.
You have Dallas, like you just mentioned.
Yep. And then Miami and Florida.
Yep.
I think that's it, but
no Tampa Bay in the NBA, obviously.
yeah.
No New York teams in the NBA either.
Obviously.
Never. Well, and Brooklyn, you could count that, but
Never.
they're gone, so
The NBA playoffs or the NHL playoffs hadn't even started yet, and they had already been swept.
True.
So, yeah.
LA? Was there an LA? Nope, no LA teams because of the Lakers. That was an incredible save by the Boston goalie.
Yeah, what a fun time to be in those cities, though. I mean, you literally have something to do almost every night in terms of watching sports, at your bars or going to the game or just watching at home. But what a time for them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You want to leapfrog to Cardinals or NBA talk real quick?
I think we're kind of mixing in the NBA.
Yeah.
I want to roll with the NBA, so we could do that.
All right. So, like I said, 2-1 seems to be the theme here, and that is literally what every series sits at right now in the NBA.
No sweeps in the second round.
No sweeps in the second round. Obviously, 4 gentlemen sweeps still on the table, but
well, that's always the case through 3 games.
Yeah. So Heat are up 2-1 right now over the Sixers, and Game 4 is today. Sixers won Game 4 with Embiid back. Game 3 with Embiid back. And he didn't even have like a crazy game, but his presence was definitely felt in that game. Had a double-double. And they just needed him to be back, and they were able to win once he was.
Just without him on that court, they were dead.
Yeah.
Like they had no energy. They had no will to win when Embiid is not on the court. They
really don't have a chance to win the series if he's not out there.
The games were over before they even started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's just how bad they were without him. That's how good of a player he is. And that's why I'm a big Jokic for MVP guy, but if Embiid wins MVP, he very well deserves it just as much.
Yeah.
So
no complaints from me if Embiid wins MVP. And like we just said, they've been kind of dead when he's not out there. Game 2, they tried to make like a serious push to get back into it, and they kind of did, but it never really felt like they were like that. The Heat were out of control. Like they had command of that game anyway, so that didn't really matter. But yeah, with Embiid back, they have a fighting chance. But I will say this. It is incredible to watch James Harden's regression before our eyes. And,
Was he ever really that good of a player, though?
I think he was. He was able to keep the Rockets competitive in series by himself pretty much most of the time, and he just can't do that anymore. And now that's not a knock on him completely because he's just getting older, and that's really hard to do. But it's crazy to watch it happen just over the past 2 or 3 seasons, really. And who knows? Maybe a full off season with the Sixers next year will propel him into having a better season next year. But I don't know. I feel like the twilight of his career has,
Yeah.
is here.
He's
So
not a number one option anymore.
no, he's a number 2 option for
Yep.
the 76ers, and that's fine. But really, Tyrese Maxey has been
Yeah.
better than Harden.
Is he a rookie or a second year?
Second year out of Kentucky, 21st pick in the draft, I believe, a couple of years ago. So
Yeah. I was thinking that was this year for some reason, but
no, I think 21st pick, and I want to say last year he averaged like 8 or 7 points per game. So big jump for him.
yeah,
He
I
probably
know
should
that
have won Most Improved Player if you ask me. But
well, who did? John Morant.
yes,
But he gave his award to Desmond Bain. So
yeah, with his name on the award.
Yep.
So there you go.
So Desmond Bain gets an award in his house that says John Morant, most improved player.
Beautiful.
So more news for the Heat in that series. Tyler Hero wins the Sixth Man of the Year
Yeah.
award. That's my guy. So
Yeah,
very
that's
exciting for that. He deserved it. He is basically a starter with the amount of minutes he plays, but he does come off the bench. So
yeah. No, he gives him something off the
that
bench.
was beautiful.
That was a beautiful set play.
Woo.
That might seal it, honestly. 2 goals is
they
a
got
lot.
all the momentum. I think it's over. This game, Game 4, Boston has it.
Yeah, so Tyler Hero won. Definitely deserved it.
It brings me to a point. Are they, like this year, announcing the awards slowly throughout the playoffs? Because I feel like always before, like, they'd have a night, I feel like, before the finals, and they just have a big awards night and announce them all. But why are they doing it differently this year?
I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't tell you how they've done it in the past. But, yeah, they have been releasing them pretty slowly, like Rookie of the Year, and they did Most Improved, and then Defensive. Or maybe it was Defensive, then Most Improved. And then Sixth Man, MVP is going to be coming up, I would
MVP
assume.
will be the last one, I think. Probably, you would assume.
That and probably, Coach of the Year or something like that.
Yeah. It's just kind of weird how they're doing it, like, just
No,
one at
yeah,
a time,
it's
though.
weird. I guess it's kind of spread out the celebration effect of it. Like every single time somebody wins a new award, they kind of get their shine for a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
It's not just all on the MVP and Coach of the Year and stuff like that.
But, yeah, so if the Sixers win today, things will get really interesting. But, yeah, so moving on to the Suns Mavericks, they also play Game 4 today, and the Suns, like we said, lead 2-1. But this is Game 2 in Dallas. So, and they won the first game in Dallas. The Mavericks did. Chris Paul has been great, and so has Luka. And one thing I have to say about this series that has surprised me is because I was watching Game 3 the other night, is both teams are actually fun, which is something that I never thought I would say about the Mavericks, even with Luka. They just have some actual fun players on their team, like Reggie Bullock. Now that's a little biased because of North Carolina, but Bullock. They have some white center.
Maxey Kleber.
Yes, that guy.
I know him from
who's
NBA
kind of
2K.
fun to watch.
They got Dwight Powell.
I really, really like Jalen Brunson. He's really fun. Villanova Wildcat.
Yeah.
So Jalen Brunson, I think, is a stud. So, and he has really helped them
Playing like it
in these playoffs. Yes.
They blew out the Suns the other day.
Yeah, well, it was actually closer than the scoreboard would say. They kind of pulled away at the end, but
yeah, in the fourth quarter they dominated. But
like we said, Chris Paul has been playing well. Devin Booker hasn't been playing as well. He's really their top scoring threat, and he hasn't been doing top scoring type of games. So they need to get him going a little bit more. But Other than that, yeah, I mean, this series is in the same boat. If the home team wins again tonight, it'll be 2-2, and we'll be in the same spot.
Yep.
Warriors absolutely crushed the Grizzlies last night, and now
That's
they
such a
also lead
fun
at 2-1.
series. They got some beef going on too right now with the Dylan Brooks situation where I don't think he meant to kill Gary Payton, but he did.
Yeah.
And he got ejected from game 2 and then suspended for game 3. And then in game 3, Jordan Poole ripped. John Morant was just dribbling the ball and he grabbed his knee and ripped it. And Ja exited the game with injury, I think. And
he still scored 34, and some claims that Jordan Poole did grab his knee on purpose. Honestly, I went back and watched it. I don't think he did.
He's trying to make a play on the ball.
Yeah.
But if
That's there, the animosity is there. So
yeah, when Steve Kerr after the game 2, he's like, they broke the code with Dylan Brooks, the foul on Gary Payton. I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it was a flagrant foul, in my opinion, and I was fine with the ejection, but I did not agree with the suspension for the next game.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that dirty of a play.
Yeah, I think the conclusion that me and you came to was that the reason why they probably suspended him is to get people to chill out in this series and throughout the NBA, but mostly in this series because tensions definitely have been running a little higher. And, if they maybe lay down the hammer on a guy, then maybe things will cool off a little bit because your team needs those guys. And it showed. I mean, the Grizzlies needed him in game 3, and he was nowhere to be found. They end up losing by 30. So
Yep.
that also goes to show what happens when Ja's not in. I mean, he was carrying them, and they still got smoked.
Well,
so.
I mean, the Grizzlies were 20-2 without Ja in the regular season, so that shouldn't be an excuse. But
yeah, it shouldn't. But then again, the Warriors have also been the best team in the NBA at times. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to not.
Is Steph Curry still coming off the bench, or is he starting now?
He's starting.
Okay,
but
there
was
a
time
off the bench for a while.
Yeah, there was a time
against the Nuggets.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I think the Warriors have got this one. I don't think I don't think the Grizzlies are going to be able to come back. I think they're honestly going to win game 3, and then Grizzlies might force a game 6, and that might be it. I don't know. The Warriors are playing so well. So
yeah.
I don't see the scenario where the Grizzlies win, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I hope Ja is not hurt bad.
Yeah, me too. But that shot that Ja missed at the very end of game 1, that layup that just didn't go in, that would have won the game. The whole series changes if that goes in, because then Memphis goes up 2-0, and they're up 2-1 right now. It's just looking completely different, so it's just weird to see how one basket can change. Speaking of missed baskets too, the Celtics yesterday in game 3 could not make a basket at the end of the game to force overtime, even though they had how many chances?
Well, what really happened was the very final seconds. So, by the way, this was an awesome game. I only got to watch the beginning of it, but I was able to see clips from the end. Bucks won 103-101, and like we said, now they lead the series 2-1. But it came down to a buzzer beater that went in to tie the game by Al Horford, but he didn't get it off in time. They just kept shooting it off the backboard, and then he had one more attempt, and it was just on his hand as he put it up. And it went in. It went in. So it would have tied it. They would have had overtime, and they went to the monitor to check it out, and it was pretty clear that it did not leave his hand. So there was a call in that game which led to the buzzer beater there. Marcus Smart took a shot from the 3-point line and got fouled, and they said he wasn't really in the act of a shooting motion, so it was just a 1-and-1. He made the first one, but since instead he wasn't getting 3 shots and they were only going to give him 2 at the max, he had to just kind of throw it off the backboard to try and get something to happen, and something did happen. They almost scored at the end, but people thought that he should have been given a 3-point play. That how is that not the act of a shooting motion? It was a tough call. Honestly, I mean, he did just kind of wail his body around to try and get the foul for a 3-point 3-point free throws, 3 free throw attempts. It didn't go his way though, and I mean they're fine. Tatum played horrible, and they only lost by 2. So
Yeah, true. That's going to be a fun series. I think that one goes 7.
I
Those are
would be
two
definitely fine with
juggernaut
that.
teams. I think the winner of that goes to the finals, in my opinion. I know you picked the Bucks to go to the finals, and I picked the Celtics. So,
Yeah.
one of them will move on, and one of them won't.
Yeah. It's also important to note that Giannis had 42. And between Drew Holiday and Giannis, they shot 60 shots combined. Each of them shot 30 times. Giannis was 16 of 30, and Drew was 11 of 30. So they shot 27 of 60 combined, which really isn't that bad, and combined for most of their points. So they have been the dynamic duo the past couple of years. So we'll see if that can carry them through another run. And right now it looks like it might. So yeah, that's what we got on the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, what we got? 2 games. Why did they were doing like 2 games, and then they were alternating the games every day? So like one day it was the Warriors and Bucks, those 2 games, and then it was the Suns and Heat, those 2 series. And then all of a sudden there was just a day that there was no NBA basketball.
Yeah, Thursday, which sucked for me. I had nothing to do homework-wise, which is like a rarity, and then there was no NBA on, which really sucked.
Well, why did they give – because they played on Tuesday, and then they didn't play again until Saturday. And the other series played on Wednesday and Friday. Like, why did they do that? That didn't make
I
any
don't know.
sense.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they do during the finals. Some days we'll go on like 3-4 day breaks without games, which is rough, kind of. But yeah, I don't know. I hope that's what I kind of like about hockey. Honestly, is they just go.
Yep, every other day.
Yeah, you have an off day, and then you're back at it. So,
which I think that's what the NBA is going to do the rest of the way out, right?
I mean,
At least in this round.
Maybe in this round, but once you get to the next couple of rounds, they just try to spread it out. Which I don't hate it completely because I actually really love June basketball for some reason. I like the NBA in June a lot, but it is it's just really drawn out, some of the series, with the amount of days in between. But whatever.
Yep.
So yeah. Cardinals, they've had some big series, like you've said, and they had a pretty historic moment last night with Yadi getting 1,000 ribbies as a catcher, and he also has 2,000 hits, so he's just the 8th catcher all time.
8th catcher in MLB history to have both 1,000 career RBIs and 2,000 hits.
Yes, and obviously he's won a World Series as well, so pretty awesome career. They ended up, Cardinals lost to the Giants last night by 2 field goals. They lost 13-7.
But that was a fun game though, because Steven Matz pitched awful. Basically, John Mozeliak pitched awful.
Yeah, I put, it was a great game and a good game to watch unless you were a pitcher or a fan of pitching.
True.
So,
but I got to watch my fair share of pitching. I went to the game on Monday, and that score was 1-0. So I got my fair share of good pitch. Steven Matz was actually on the mound for that game. He pitched amazing, but it was also the Royals, not the Giants. So a little different there, but still, I went to the game with my dad on Monday. That's my first game of the year. He had tickets, and it was a day game. So I got out of school to go watch it, and it was a fun game. We beat the rain, too. The rain was supposed to start at like 1:30. The game started at 12:15, and the rain was supposed to start like at 1:30 to 2.
And it didn't hit.
It like laid off until like 2:45. And whenever the last batter was up, it kind of started to drizzle a little bit, but Gallegos got him out. So that was kind of a weird game because that was a makeup game.
Yeah.
From a few weeks ago whenever it got rained out. But then like they played one game here, and then they went on the road to Kansas City to play the same team the next day. It was a bizarre situation, but
yeah. And then this was they just came back to town for a game.
Yeah.
So kind of cool, honestly.
Yeah. So on the year, we win 3 out of 4 against the Royals, which is good. That's what we got to do. We did get blown out by them in one of the games, 10-0. Football score, kind of.
Yeah.
That was a weird game because they just dominated us on all levels.
Yeah.
Forget who started that game. It might have been Hudson. But Wainwright pitched really good the next day against the Royals. Him and Molina are slowly catching up on that the all-time the all-time battery mate starts together.
Yeah, I was just about to say battery.
So as long as they both stay healthy, they'll break the record. But
well, then they must be really close.
They're like 15 games away or something like that, I think.
That's quite a few more starts.
Well, yeah, but you have 30 starts in a year.
Yeah.
30, 32 starts.
You just hope one of them doesn't get hurt.
Yep, that's
with
why
their
I say
age. So,
which is very possible. But especially Yadi, he seems to have injuries like around this time every year. But he's actually kind of starting to heat up with the bat. He hit a home run the other night. That was like the first actual thing he's done on offense all year, other than steal a base. He has been very underwhelming, but he's been looking good in this series. He obviously had the RBI single to right field to get the 1,000th RBI yesterday. Carlson also starting to heat up as well. He had a 3-run homer, and he's been getting a lot of doubles. Recently, he had the RBI single in the 9th inning on Friday that ended up being the game-winning RBI. So he's getting hot. I like that. That's what we need because he started off really slow. Another guy who's hot on the team, Miles Mikolas.
Good.
Yes.
The old Miles Mikolas.
That's what is Miles Mikolas continues to roll, and do we dare say that the all-star Miles Mikolas is back? Because he's pitching like in 2018, I do believe
I would love it.
All-star. He was the only all-star on the team.
He was my favorite pitcher that year.
He was so good.
Yeah.
Like, because our pitching staff was not that good. And
I think
just carried us.
I think I went to 2 or 3 games that year, and every single one was
a Mikolas start.
Yeah, that's kind of coincidental, but
I went in whenever Lance Lynn was on the team, I went to like 5 straight games, and he pitched like every single one. It was incredible. But
speaking of Yadi injuries, I remember a few years ago when he got hit in the balls.
Oh, by Jordan Hicks.
Yes. Yeah.
He threw a slider, and Chris Bryant like tipped it, and it bounced off the dirt and went up and broke his nut cup in half.
And his nut, really.
Yeah, he had to get surgery. They like rushed him to the emergency room, took him out immediately. That was such a tough scene.
Yeah, I remember there was a kid in my math class who literally referenced it saying, "Did you guys see that Yadi busted a nut?" In our
not false either.
And our math teacher was like, maybe just don't say it like that. But funny moment, I remember that. Definitely helps me remember
not funny
that.
For him, but
helps me remember that injury. That was really tough for Yadi. He was out for a while. I mean,
yeah,
I understand, but
he was out for a while.
Yeah. And we have this written down. Is Yadi a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yes. Well, I was looking at that today, and I was like, he is one of 8 catchers in MLB history to accomplish this offensive achievements, right? He's not known for his offense. He's a defensive guy. He's got 9 Gold Gloves, I think, which is second all time. And he's also the 8th catcher to have these offensive stats. How do you not put that in the Hall of Fame?
No, I think.
And then he's also how many All-Star appearances does he have?
I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I just don't know if he'll be first ballot because the writers are just really stingy nowadays about getting guys in. I think, like I said, I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I just don't know if he'll be first ballot.
He has 2,000 hits. He's got over 150 home runs, 10 MLB All-Star games, 4 Platinum Glove awards, 9 Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
That is a Hall of Fame resume. No doubt. No doubt Hall of Famer.
One, this is something a little different, but I would love to be at the game when they give him his red jacket.
Yeah. Well,
They do that at Ballpark Village usually,
mhm.
but like they kind of introduce them or whatever. The Red Jackets. That would be really cool to see when Yadi gets his.
Yeah, that would be cool. Also, him and Pujols both retiring at the end of this year, which means they'll be eligible for the ballot at the same time.
Yeah.
That might help Yadi get on that first ballot because Pujols is a first ballot.
For
He
sure.
might be unanimous, and if he's not unanimous, there's definitely something wrong with the voting. Because he is one of the greatest hitters of all time, and to see them go in together would be really cool. So I think some of the riders might suck up to that a little bit, as much as I hate to say that's the reason why. But
They're a sucker for a good story.
oh yeah,
But even though when there are good stories, sometimes they still.
Yeah, well, they kept Barry Bonds out of the Hall of Fame, but put in Ortiz. So
Yeah, wild.
they lost all their reputation whenever they did that. But when you pick and choose guys like that, that's where you get into issues. Guys that actually did test positive and get suspended, like Alex Rodriguez, that's a legitimate excuse. Yeah, keep him out, because we got to keep it clean. But Barry Bonds never did that. So it's a different story.
I think the part that maybe is maybe not the worst part, but one of the worst parts about Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame is the fact that he is the reason why lots of people in the United States and around the world actually started to love baseball.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of sad that you're not putting that kind of guy who sparked the love of baseball for many people in the 90s and 2000s. You're not going to put that guy in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
I agree.
So, I mean, that's just kind of sad, really, more than anything. But
and it's just pettiness is all it is why they kept them out.
Yeah.
And that's annoying. But regardless, I think Yadi's still first ballot Hall of Famer. Some other news around the league, though. The Yankees-Blue Jays series, really interesting one. The Yankees won the first two games in Toronto, I think. And Blue Jays won the last one. But in this moment, that's obviously the series where the fan gave the ball to the kid. That went viral. That where the kid was wearing the Judge jersey, and the Blue Jays fan caught it and then gave the ball to him, and then the kid gave him a hug and stuff. And then the kid got to meet Aaron Judge the next day. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's something that the internet that's a positive of the internet right there, is because if that video never goes viral, the moment still happens, which is cool. But then if the moment never goes viral, he doesn't get to meet Aaron Judge the next day. So
Yeah. Another thing, Judge is having a great year.
The Yankees, they were hot.
Yeah.
They still are hot, really. They might have the best record in baseball, I think. Them and the Brewers.
Oh, yeah. I picked the Yankees now that I think back to it.
You did. I forget who I picked.
I think I went Yankees, Dodgers.
I think I did the Braves.
Which is
the Blue Jays? We'll go back. We have it on record.
Yeah.
Somebody find that.
But yeah, Judge he is having a year that might make him a ton of money. So
yeah, whether that's in a Yankees uniform and the pinstripes or not.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, apparently they had a big offer for him, but not big enough for him.
Yeah.
And he is maybe playing too well in terms of how much they want to give him in terms of contract negotiations. So,
yep.
Which is interesting to think about.
Also, the big cities, big markets are back.
Yeah, definitely.
All four teams.
Mets, Mets. I mean, they're playing great.
The Yankees, obviously very hot. And then the Dodgers,
Angels.
And Angels.
Finally.
All four. It's the first time in MLB history that all four of those teams are in first place. So I saw a stat yesterday. The Angels had a total of how many shutouts do you think they had last year? In a 162 game season, how many times did they shut out the opponent?
6.
4.
How
many times did they shut out the opponent this year so far in early May?
5.
Yes. They already have more shutouts this year than what they did the entire year last year. So Angels with pitching, Very
Who
scary
knows? Who
team.
knows what could happen? Angels with pitching.
And they got guys. Mike Trout is rolling. He's 100% back. Taylor Ward. That's a name that non-baseball enthusiasts won't know, but he's a beast. What are some other guys? That's about it. Those two guys. Shohei, of course. You know, the two-way phenom. Pitched. They were calling it the greatest game ever played at Fenway, which is something incredible. I mean, the Fenway's 110 years old, and they were calling it the greatest game ever played at that ballpark. He hit the ball off the green monster and he hit it so hard that his number fell off the scoreboard. That's
cool.
Yeah. He's a legend. And I know some people think that this is going to be he's going to start a new generation. I doubt it. Because I don't know if you know who Hunter Green is, the Reds pitcher that throws 100 consistently. But he was a two-way prospect. When they drafted him, he was a shortstop and a pitcher, but they made him a pitcher when he could have easily been both. But it just shows that how hard it is to do both in the league. You just can't do it.
Well, so what? Shohei, he'll play in the outfield sometimes, right?
Occasionally. They changed the rule this year where if you pitch and you DH or something like that, then you can stay in the game as the DH after you leave. It's basically the Shohei rule. It's made specifically for him. But last year that was not the case. If he wanted to stay in the game and bat, he had to play the outfield after he got kind of like in Little League, whenever you
just run out to a different position.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally exactly what it was. But yeah, this year he hasn't played any minutes in the outfield.
Which is interesting.
Just hits and pitches.
So, yeah. Tough scene of the week.
Yeah.
Get into segments already. Like we said, not a big show.
Yeah, a little bit of a shorter show for the people here.
Believe it or not a whole lot going on. We're kind of just in the middle of series in terms of both the NBA and NHL. Nothing set in stone in terms of who's winning series and whatnot. Yep. But I'll go first with the tough scene of the week. I have two. My first one is the Chiefs somehow getting Justin Ross and how this is kind of bad news for the NFL.
What round did he go in? What pick?
0 round. He was an undrafted free agent. And this is a hill I'm willing to die on. This Justin Ross, his freshman year, there was a conversation back when Trevor Lawrence and Clemson won the national title his freshman year and absolutely demolished Alabama, that we were there. People were like, why do we have this rule in place where guys have to stay in college for 3 years for football? And we see why every single year when they get to the NFL, why they have to stay down there, because they're just simply not ready. But people threw Trevor Lawrence's name around and Justin Ross's name around for how well he played in that championship game. Of those should be guys that should just be able to go as a freshman straight to the NFL. Well, 3 years later, a ton of injuries later, he's undrafted because of all the injuries that he sustained during college.
Didn't he opt out of the COVID year too?
Yeah, I think he did opt out 1 year. And he had one injury that was career ending, and he came back from it. But the Chiefs somehow get him. He's wearing number 8. And this is a guy that I think that he's going to be one of the best, one of Mahomes' favorite targets, and is going to be one of those guys that would be like, oh, he was undrafted. How'd he go undrafted? He's going to be maybe a possible future Pro Bowler. Stuff like that. I really think he is that good, and
he does have the talent, but they say the best ability is availability.
Yes,
so
it is.
You stay healthy.
Yeah, I think they got to work, they got to get him stronger so he doesn't get hurt, but also, just kind of limit his usage at first to maybe, see where he fits best, because they have, a solid core. MVS still, went down there from the Packers. They still have Kels. They signed Juju. They drafted Sky Moore too, and a couple other guys, they've added for passing, to get the ball downfield this year to replace Tyreek Hill's production, which is not going to be easy, but they've definitely found speed in both MVS and Sky Moore. So
Yep.
we'll see how that is. I just think it's a tough scene when we're all sitting here going, how does the Chiefs get all these weapons every single year?
Why did the Packers not sign him?
It's just he's going to be one of those guys where you're just like, how did this happen? And so yeah.
Why didn't the Packers sign him? What could we have possibly lost from signing an undrafted, high potential free agent like that? I just don't understand. But we do have Christian Watson, hopefully. Was he Trey Lance's number one target?
Oh yeah. Yes. I mean,
Okay.
Trey Lance.
I told someone that he was Trey Lance's best receiver.
He was his best receiver.
Okay.
He just, Trey Lance did a lot on his own too. He made plays on his own. And interestingly enough, I saw a thing that San Francisco staff is underwhelmed by what they're seeing from Trey Lance right now.
Oh boy.
So that could be a very interesting situation, especially since Jimmy G is still there.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes. I don't think it's really a bad thing if your quarterback's not the day one starter in his second season, but they are pretty much saying that he is no matter what. So,
I mean, you see how Jordan Love is. This is just getting ready to be his fourth season behind Aaron Rodgers. So he's got to be getting a little restless, I would think, but I don't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I'm
either.
here to tell you right now, we don't care. My tough scene is base runner in the Cubs game, Nico Hoerner. This was a funny scene. So he has like a weak ground ball to the shortstop area, and the shortstop for the Dodgers, I think it was Trey Turner, goes to make a play, and he's like on the run. He tries to do the Arenado throw, and he overthrows it. And the Cubs, Nico Hoerner, the runner, thinks that the ball went into the stand. So he just he runs past first base, and then he just kind of lightly jogs to second base.
Thinking he hits a free base.
Yep. He's just trying to go take his free base. Dodgers first baseman Freeman goes over, grabs the ball because it hit off the wall, and he throws it to the second baseman, and he goes over and tags him out. And it was just a complete masterclass base running right there.
Nico's face, too, was just like,
but how do you not know that? Like, that's something
you just have to glance over.
Yeah, you just have to look to see to make sure that it did. That just seems something that.
It was also pretty incredible how far he ran into the outfield after he ran past first base.
Yeah.
He did a full-on loop past first base into the outfield, then over to second, where he never actually made it. But yeah, that was a funny video to see on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
So, my second tough scene of the week is Jeff Fisher losing on a Blair Walsh kick in a USFL game. They were down 26-25. This kick was to win the game, and it was less than an extra point. And the guy just hit it off the upright. And if you've watched any USFL games this year,
kicking is awful.
Kicking and quarterback play are just at an all-time low in those leagues, and it makes the games kind of funny. Every single time a kicker runs out onto the field, it is pretty much 50-50 ball with the kickers. They don't have much distance, and they have no accuracy at all, except there's one of them who has played in the NFL. I think it's Dustin Rose or something like that. Something Rose for one of the teams. But just a funny scene. It really was just a chip shot. And then Jeff Fisher just looked like he got his hand slammed in the car door or something like that. Just a sad look on his face. So,
yeah, the USFL, I'm looking at the standings right now. Are all their games played in one stadium?
Yes, they're all played in Birmingham this year, which is weird.
Why don't they just call them the Stallions or why don't they just call them the Breakers instead of the New Orleans Breakers?
They're based out of cities, so I don't know if next year they're going to be traveling.
Oh,
But maybe for the first year, they just wanted it all in the same place to see if they could even make it through a season.
gotcha.
Um,
How many games do they actually, I can look right now.
I think they play 10 games and then the playoffs start.
Yes, 10
So.
games.
But yeah, Birmingham's pretty good, and Tampa Bay's pretty good. They actually were playing today. I didn't see who won at the end.
New Orleans is pretty good too, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Tampa Bay is Jordan Tiamu,
Oh, really?
Battlehawks legend, so
I bet
and Ole
that
Miss legend.
that's
So
gotta be decent quarterback play then.
no, it's not bad, yeah, but it's still not great. I mean,
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to watch any of the USFL games, but, I'd kinda like to because, it's a fun league, I feel like, but there's some names that maybe are in there that you wouldn't realize unless, like, you watched it, so.
yeah, there's a lot of guys
You know
that
what?
play in the league that are you have seen in college, but other than that, it's, the quarterback play makes it kinda hard to watch sometimes. I won't lie. I mean, it's just that bad sometimes.
Put it on right now. There's a game on right now.
Yeah, the
Just
New
watch it.
Orleans jerseys are sweet.
Yeah, they are.
They kinda remind me of the Battlehawks, actually.
And that's the team that Ta'amu no, he plays for Tampa Bay, doesn't he?
Yeah, he plays for the Bandits.
Gotcha.
So,
The
yeah.
Bandits.
I was able to put together some say hellos this week and a kick
Oh,
of
yeah.
goodbye.
We didn't do that last week.
Yeah. My say hello was say hello to Missouri Heat because it is gonna hit 94 and 95 degrees twice this week and 93 degrees one
Alrighty.
day. Dime. And the feels like it says could reach 100. So, welcome back to summer.
Where was spring? We got, like
No, we got a spring. It
That's
was
true.
just cooler and a lot more rain, which is what spring really is. The past
True.
few years, actually, we've kinda just skipped spring. So, I don't disagree with people who are like, "Man, I miss the sun," because we didn't see the sun here
that much.
for, like, about the past week and a half. Tons of rain, tons of gray skies even when it didn't rain, but I'm a big fan of the 60-degree weather days compared to the 95, so
Yeah.
they're
Well, when
pretty
it's
much
not
gone.
rainy and windy, the 60-degree
Yeah.
days are actually like, when it's 60 degrees and sunny, that's good. Kinda like it was yesterday. I think it was, like, 70 and sunny
I'm
yesterday, though, but
I'm
that was
fine with
amazing.
60 degrees and cloudy. I'm
Okay.
fine with it because,
That's fine. Yeah,
no
it's
rain,
yeah, as long as
no
it's not windy.
sunburn,
As long
no
yeah.
wind sometimes. So,
But,
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be hot this week, but I think the week after it'll go back to kinda so we got a kind of a colder week this week, like 50 degrees, and then now we're gonna have a hot week, 90 degrees, and then it'll be back to normal. So,
hopefully.
hopefully, yes, hopefully. Um, my say hello is horse racing.
Perfect. Let's
The
talk
Kentucky
about it.
Derby was yesterday. Um, what's the guy's name that won? It was
Rich Strike,
yes,
who was
Rich Strike.
80-1 odds.
I have no idea if that's good or not. Like, where was he projected to finish? Like, how many horses are projected?
Well, I can't tell you. I have no idea where he was projected to finish, but basically, he had one of the worst odds. I mean, it's an incredible upset. So, I mean, the best odds, yesterday were like, around 2-1, 3-1, 5-1, 10-1. Those are good odds.
80-1?
Yeah, what that pretty much means is you make a ton of money if you bet on Rich Strike.
I think that
You
what is that?
strike it rich.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So,
I mean, you should have known that from the name of the horse that that's a good investment you should have made. But that was incredible watching that overhead view. And he
yeah,
was like third or fourth to last. And then in
yes.
that straightaway, he passed every single
Yeah,
other horse.
and he just weaved, which you just don't really see that much very often.
That's probably the jockey though, like guiding him and stuff
Yeah, I
too.
know,
To,
you just don't really see it that much, though, on the final stretch where other horses and other jockeys just let guys weave, and he came from pretty much all the way in the back and made it all the way to the front. I mean, he just turned on the boosters on
Mhm.
the final stretch. down I mean, they weren't even talking about him during the final stretch until he literally made it up to the front. They were talking about 2 other horses who were neck and neck pretty much. And then Rich Strike just took the glory right from under him. It was pretty awesome. We both had to actually miss the race, which sucks. I've watched that race so many years in a row until yesterday. Crazy race day. It was really, I saw the pictures of the crowd. Last year it was limited to 50,000, which you might be like, wow, that's still a full crowd, but not at the Kentucky Derby. That place holds so many people.
The pride of Kentucky.
Yeah, pride of Kentucky.
More than Kentucky Fried Chicken. Which one is more represents Kentucky more? The fried chicken, KFC,
or the Kentucky
Derby?
I mean, I would say year round, probably the chicken, but the Kentucky Derby is like, that's the thing.
Well, I think
everybody goes there.
I think KFC's gotten to the point like where it's not just Kentucky, like it's worldwide, but the Kentucky Derby, that's strictly in Kentucky. I think that's more of the pride of Kentucky.
Yeah. Like I said, it was just nice to see everybody back there.
A lot of celebrities.
Yeah, right on top of each other, everybody in the crowd. They pack them in there. The stars were out. Yeah, but
I'd like to go to that one day. That'd be Is it like expensive to go there?
I don't think it's cheap, and you got to dress accordingly. The dress code is pretty tight. Speaking of KFC,
it's kind of like an old-fashioned thing, I feel like.
KFC, they kind of had that drawback, too, when that rat just decided to jump into their deep fryer. So, since then, they've kind of had a bad rap. So,
plan your visit to the Kentucky Derby. Like, I would really want to do it because I feel like that's one of the best things to gamble on too.
Yeah, most fun. I mean, it's just exhilarating, right? And it's so short
right there.
The buildup for the Kentucky Derby on TV is like 5 hours, and the race is like 2 minutes. It's crazy how long the buildup is, and I have sat through the whole thing. So I mean, and you're just like, why am I watching all this? I'm just here for the race.
It's crazy that it's like a sport too. That's what it's considered.
Rich Strike also then tried to eat other horses after the race, which was kind of an alpha move, in my opinion. He was like biting at them and trying to.
He got slapped in the face by one of the jockeys.
He did. He got punched.
Will Slit. Well, no, Juwan Howard style.
Yeah,
not
Will
he
got
Smith.
face. The horse definitely got face mushed.
Yeah,
and then that was kind of a counter though from Rich Strike trying to eat other horses, which brings up an interesting point. The horses simply do not like racing environments. The horses are treated like kings and queens, every other time, where they're from, where they're trained and stuff, they're treated amazing. But on race day, I mean, they're treated like animals again. And they hate the racing environment, and it makes them unpredictable. Sometimes it makes them run slower, faster. Sometimes it just makes them unpredictable. So like we saw Rich Strike, he won, but then after the race, you see him trying to eat other horses. So that's just what the crowd of the Kentucky Derby can do to the horses. I mean, they just simply don't like the loud noises and whatnot. So
yeah. Interesting thing for sure. We got 2 more of the races. Though one of them's the Belmont Stakes and
the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like if you win all 3, then you win the Triple Crown.
Yeah,
I know a few horses have done that in recent.
Yeah, usually Bob Baffert's horses do, but he's suspended right now.
Who was the horse that was Rich Strike?
Not Baffert's. Not in any correlation to Baffert at all. I have no idea.
I heard it was bought. It was like one of the cheapest horses to buy. Like it was bought for like $30,000, and that was it.
That guy,
and it was literally entered in the Derby like a day before or something like that. So that's pretty incredible.
That wide receiver there went to North Carolina that they just showed on the screen. Really? Yeah, came out early for the draft, and then I don't even know if he got drafted. Played for the Raiders for like a split second, and that was it. And now he's here, obviously. Anthony Ratliff Williams.
Gotcha. All right. Oh, another say hello. We cleaned up nice yesterday. If you follow the Twitter, then you
yeah.
you saw that. That was the first time I've ever worn a suit. So say hello to suits, I guess.
Yeah. My kiss it goodbye. I love this one. Rudy Gobert Jazz era. There's plenty of trade talks already heating up about, like when it's okay to start trading players again after the NBA season and whatnot. That some teams might be making a push for Rudy Gobert, and that just means, kind of a new dawn for the Jazz team. They're going to have to find something else to build
I think
with Donovan Mitchell.
I think their fans are fine with it though.
No, I do too.
I have seen the memes, the mock trades where they trade both Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, so Donovan Mitchell still has to deal with Rudy Gobert, but he may be the most hated player in the NFL.
You mean NBA?
NBA, yes. Rudy Gobert.
I think it might be Grayson Allen, but
I don't know. Well, he was already
hated.
LeBron.
True. At the end of the day,
LeBron also has a lot of
he has a lot of lovers, but
a lot of fans.
But
hardcore fans.
He also has probably the most haters out of anybody.
So maybe for different reasons, but a lot of the NBA community I know just hated Rudy Gobert. I don't know, maybe because he was French, and then the whole COVID situation happened.
The COVID thing I think is what it's not even his fault.
Yeah, he gets the blame for it.
He gets the blame for it.
But it was inevitable
to anybody.
It was gonna happen. So,
but he's the guy, so you just point to him. So
yep.
Yeah.
My kiss of goodbye is my curse at the Cardinal game. I'm finally free.
You finally won a game?
No, well, over the last few years, this is dating back to before COVID because, last year I went to a game in Colorado and Cleveland, and I went to another game at Busch Stadium earlier in the year. And we lost all three of those games. And then obviously in 2020, there was no fans. And this streak, it was up to 7 or 8 games, dating back to 2019, probably 2018. Actually,
straight L's.
Every time I went to watch the game in person, we would lose. We'd always find a way to lose, it seemed like. And I went during the winning streak last year. It was at 16 games. It was against the Brewers. It was that $5 ticket deal or whatever. So you get to sit in the second deck for $5 or something like that. Me and my dad went for that. That was really cool. We actually got to see them clinch a playoff spot in that game too. But I remember going that, and I was like, which streak is going to be more powerful, the Cardinals winning streak or my losing streak? And I think their winning streak set me free of my curse because, like I said, me and my dad went to the game on Monday, and we won. And we only scored 1 run. So I think my curse is finally over.
It tried. It tried to do its work.
Yeah.
The curse did.
On Monday?
Yeah.
It held the offense for sure, but
not enough.
Not enough. So I think the winning streak finally set me free. So that's my kiss of goodbye. And I'm thankful for it because now I can go to the games without having to worry about, being responsible for the loss.
That's interesting. I actually had one of those when I was much younger. It was 4 games. So probably just coincidental, but I was young and I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, we've lost the last 4 times I've been.
Yeah. So, it was at least 7 games. I think it was I want to say 8. It could have been 9. I honestly lost track though. It was just redundant. Every time I went, we lost. And a lot of times it was a blowout. It wasn't even close. So now back-to-back games that I'm on a winning streak now. Not yet.
A new streak.
No, you need 3 to have a winning streak.
I think as soon as you start winning, it's a streak.
No, not 1 game. 1 game's not a winning streak.
2 is a streak.
2's borderline. 3's a winning streak. So I go to the next one. Maybe for the Blue Jays. I want to go to the Blue Jays game. That's coming up in a few weeks here.
Yeah, but that could also be the start of a new streak.
Oh,
you think about it.
But I just kissed it goodbye. Maybe me putting this in my kiss it goodbye will be.
That's the end of it.
Yep, it's a new. I cursed myself again. So, but yeah, that's the show.
Yeah, that's all we got.
So I think we're sitting around a little bit over an hour right now. So definitely on the shorter side of things. But next week we may have a nice treatment thing. So that'll make it a little bit longer. So make sure you tune into that. And
Yeah. Possible first interview, not confirmed though.
Yeah, it's not confirmed, but it is soon. So
Yeah.
fun
Hope
show, fun show.
Yeah. Easy show, Mother's Day show. Happy Mother's Day once again.
Yep.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a great week.
Make sure to, I have to say this one thing. Make sure to follow us on all the platforms. We haven't been saying that enough, but follow us on the Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't.
Yeah. Links to all the platforms that we're on will be in the YouTube description this week. Been slacking on that, but we'll be back.
Yeah.
So
Our Instagram's been slacking too. I haven't been posting that on there, but hopefully we can get that up and running again. But thank you to all who listened once again, and we'll see you guys next week.